Hey kids, what time is it?
Adventure time!
And where are we going?
We are going to the Lava Hot Springs.
That's right, we're going up to Idaho on this trip, and this is part of another family reunion. And we're taking our truck and trailer, obviously, as you can see behind us. And so we'll show you how this adventure goes. Before we take off, I thought I'd just go ahead and do a quick update in the trailer. It is currently, the battery is at 5%, and we're getting 700 watts of solar. I've been discharging the battery into the Tesla before departing, so now it's down to 4%. So now I'm about to unplug the car, and we'll see what this is up to by the time we get to our destination, which is about 2.5 hours away. And then just looking at the temperatures real quick, it's 86.4 degrees outside, and inside the trailer here it is 102.4 degrees. So we'll leave the mini split off while we drive, and we'll turn it on when we get there. This is the reason why we were only getting 800 watts of solar. You can see there's a patch of clouds above us right there, and so that of course comes and goes. This time of day normally we'd be getting around 2200 watts of solar. One of the things that I'm doing for the first time on this trip as well is I have a luggage rack carrier here on the back. So this was sent to me by the manufacturer Victron, which is the sticker right here, and they asked me to evaluate this. So I've assembled it last night, and it was not hard at all to bolt together, and it comes with a stabilization device that helps it to not rattle around and move while we're driving. And I've of course loaded it up with our firewood for this trip, and they included this net, this cargo net, to keep things from falling out, and as well as these orange straps right here to keep it strapped down. Now this is a Costco tote. You'll maybe remember normally they have a yellow lid. Right now I don't have that on it. It fits perfectly right here in the center, and in the future we'll do experimentation with how much more we can fit on this rack. But this rack says that it holds 500 pounds. So this trailer is very tongue weight heavy. It's a Lance 2185. It's well known in the industry for being tongue heavy. And in our case, since we've added all of our inverters and batteries, it's especially tongue heavy. And so it's actually good to reduce some of the tongue weight. Right now you can see we're sitting at 1,200 pounds, which is pretty typical for us. Although keep in mind right now the trailer's not perfectly level, it's leaning forward slightly, which means higher tongue weight. And this hitch that has the tongue weight on this dial, this is from a company called WasteSafe, and I'll put a link to them in the description below, as well as the Victron luggage rack, and we'll see how that rack travels this first journey. The drive from our house to Lava Hot Springs, Idaho is 178 miles, and Google Maps estimates 2.5 hours to drive there. In our case, while towing our trailer, it always takes us a little longer than that. The drive up was relatively uneventful, which is good, but we did stop once along the way. We have another 83 miles still to go, another hour and 9 minutes, but we stopped because someone needed to use the bathroom in the trailer, so I thought I'd just give a quick update on the battery of the trailer and how well it's charging. Looks like it has gotten up to 32%. We're currently getting 2 kilowatts of solar energy at the moment. We then continued on to our destination. While we drive on our road trips, whether we are in our Tesla or truck and trailer, we often have a variety of activities for the kids to do while we're vehicle bound. And their favorite form of entertainment is listening to books, which we often do at the same time that they're doing something else with their hands. Sometimes we listen to audiobooks, or sometimes Jessica or Lucy read the book out loud. Sometimes I want to listen to my own thing, so I just use wireless headphones to my phone for that. For our accommodations in Lava Hot Springs, we stayed at a rental called Fish Creek Haven, which is a small house on about an acre right on the edge of town, which has some basic accommodations plus space to camp. And it has its own dock into a small bay on the edge of the Portneuf River. The rental provided a variety of watercraft to play around on the water with. It's a great location considering its close proximity to town, and it's nice to have more space compared to a typical campground. The biggest drawback was that it was at the bottom of a long hill into town next to the main road through town, and right before the sign on that road prohibiting the use of compression brakes. So day and night there was loud highway traffic, especially when the trucks used their compression brakes, which was most of the time. That was compounded by the railroad tracks directly on the opposite side of the road, a mere 30 feet away. That was the most trafficked railroad I've ever experienced in my life. But to be fair to this specific location, the train noise is a problem throughout the entire valley. I doubt the other locations have as much ground shaking as we experienced, except for the RV park just up the road a short distance from us. I checked a few reviews of various locations around Lava Hot Springs prior to coming, and many reviewers complained about the train noise, and I agree that it's a blight on the otherwise very enjoyable place to visit. It wouldn't be as big of a deal if it was just a couple of times, mostly at night, like most railroad tracks I have been near. But this is a double set of rails, and trains were going by in one direction or the other a couple of times per hour, and several times there were two trains going by simultaneously using both tracks going in opposite directions. So make sure to bring earplugs if you plan to stay in Lava Hot Springs overnight. This is the Airbnb rental that we're going to be spending the next couple of days camped out at. As you can see, there are some buildings, but they're more cabin-based. There's no potable water. There's a well, but it's not treated water. And it goes way back over there, and we're going to be parking our trailer off over on the other side of that place area. And so let's get it set up. Oh, one more thing is it has its own little kind of dock area here with boats. So it has a whole bunch of kayaks. It has a rowboat, a paddle boat, some chairs, and a little dock there. So the kids are going to have a ton of fun playing on that water, I'm sure. Also, I should mention there are a couple of these shacks here. They're kind of like garden sheds that they have bunk beds in them. They have a little stove and oven here, and there's a sink, but like I said, no potable water. And then over here in the back of this hallway, there is a bedroom back here, and they actually do have air conditioning. There's a window unit there, and then there's a master bed right there. And it looks like, yeah, it's got kind of a bunk bed thing. This is the nicest room of this rental for sure. So it's really fun though, cool place. We're gonna kind of angle our trailer from the road, and this is where our slide out will be coming out on this side. And then this is the waterfront side over here. So we've angled it a little bit so that the front of our trailer isn't so close to the highway. And if we want to put out our canopy, there will be plenty of room from the trees on this side. So I'm now going to get the trailer leveled side to side, then we'll finish getting the rest of it set up. I have finished leveling the trailer forward and backward, side to side. The slide out is out, the stabilizers are down, all of that, not in that order of course. So let's check on the, another thing, I set up the Starlink dish right here, and I believe it should have a perfectly clear sky of where it needs to look at. We'll find out in a minute. And so looking at the temperatures, we're showing 100 degrees internal right now and 85.6 degrees outside. And also we are at 59% on the battery, and we're getting 672 watts of solar still. And for a point of reference, it is 4:51 p.m. So we were able to charge 56% over the course of the roughly 3-hour drive that it took to get here and position and parked. So just give you a point of reference of how much we can charge in that amount of time, of course in the middle of the day. And right now we are in the month of July. I just turned on the mini split to cool it down in here, and so you can see the electrical consumption just jumped up to about 576 watts for now, and it'll ramp up a little bit more from there. And then also I'm currently filling our Berkey water filter, since we don't have it full of water while we're traveling, so that it doesn't splash out. And you can see there we're pretty close to the top of the edge of the Berkey, and the bottom was pretty much empty. And we also have this glass sight glass window on the side that shows how full the bottom half is. If you let the top half, if you fill it and then fill it again without removing any from the bottom, it will overflow over this seam in between them. But we generally drink water fast enough, and we don't overfill the top part, so that's not really a problem usually. And then one more thing I'm going to do is, we haven't turned on the water heater yet, so all of the water in it is completely cold. If we look up here, you'll see the energy consumption on L1. It will jump from about 435 to now 1741. So it'll sustain that amount of pull for a while, usually about 20 to 30 minutes while it's heating up the hot water, because right now it's completely cold, so it will take a while. So this percentage on our battery is about to drop down fairly precipitously for the next little bit, but we should have plenty of energy to get us through the night. I don't anticipate needing to use very much air conditioning tonight. It'll probably cool down nicely. So let me show you around this area where we are now. Oh, also the Starlink, you can see, is now angled towards the northern sky. And if we look at my phone, the bandwidth speed test is showing 83 megabits per second down and 11 up. Yeah, that's pretty good. This property is right off of a highway here. The main highway that goes through Lava Hot Springs is that direction. And we're here, as I mentioned, as part of a family reunion. So there's a group of other people here as well. So that's why there's a tent here. And then there's another cabin right here. That's the bigger building. And then they have some fun play area there. And let's go around to the front and I'll show you what that looks like. This right here is the main highway through town that I mentioned. This is just off of that. This place is called Fish Creek Haven. And we'll go in the front area here. And then it has a cool lounge area here and 2 cabins over this way. And you can see there's just a bunk bed in them and a couch. What are you girls gonna do? Exciting. All right, go Lydia. So that's Lydia out going on a kayak, and then Lucy is over here on the green one. Are you ready, Clara? All right, fun. Lydia's going out on the paddleboard for the first time.
By myself.
By yourself. Gotta roll. All right. I came back to check on the trailer. It's 5:15 p.m. and the battery's now down to 51%. We're still getting 564 watts of solar, and you can see the mini split is still pulling about 1 kilowatt, and then the L1 is powering the water heater, and so that's why it's much higher. So the L2, the 500 there, that's mostly going to the mini split, although part of that is going to Starlink, and then I'm also charging some batteries on L1. For each of these, L1 and L2, their maximum is 2400 watts each. So this L1 is just shy of that by about 700 watts or so. And then currently I have the mini split set to 70 degrees and it's feeling nice and cool in here, although it is still 84, I guess, but the air feels cool that's blowing out of the mini split. The water heater just barely finished heating up the water, and it is now 5:37 p.m. So I'll put here on the screen how long that was, but that was longer than I expected. And we're down to 43% on the battery. We're still getting 520 watts of solar, and the mini split is pulling 734 watts. And the mini split has successfully decreased the temperature in here down to 76.5 degrees. It's a pretty cool place for kids to be able to kayak. The water is calm and safe here, and it's contained. Yeah, so this is definitely a really busy location for rail. This is the second one, and that's the third one to go by. That's the second one in that direction, just in the last like half an hour, maybe even just 20 minutes. Maybe it's just this time of day, I'm not sure. But then this location also has this, I don't know, there's some kind of industrial drop-off point here for gravel and dirt and staging area. And it just so happens that right now an oversized load of some sort is arriving. So, not the quietest spot, but on the other side it's quite nice. Hey, hey Clara. Are you having fun, Lucy?
Yes.
Great. Hey Lydia. A nice old-fashioned rowboat, that's cool.
What about you, Lucy? And we got little James.
You have a mini camera?
And we've got our intrepid noble oarsman squiring us around. And a string of children following us.
And this is the RV park that is near us. And so I'm guessing that they have a run that they go down the river and then they get out at this access right here. Lucy switched with Clara. Clara was on that kayak. Clara, did you have fun riding your kayak?
Yeah. Rowing.
Awesome. Are you having fun, James?
He's rowing.
Awesome. All right, we're gonna head back to our cabin that direction.
You having a good time?
This is our dock here, and our trailer is right over there. We spent the evening visiting with family while hanging out around the fire pit, serenaded by Jake brakes and screeching train wheels going around the bend as darkness descended. Eventually, we went to bed in our trailer, which thankfully was a little quieter. It is now 9:48 p.m. and the battery is down to 34%. The mini split is only pulling about 100 watts right now. It's just barely maintaining the 70 degrees that I have it set to. Kind of comes and goes. This is the Victron Monitoring Portal that shows the electrical system of our trailer throughout that day. As you can see here, I have just that one day selected. Down here on this graph, the blue line is the state of charge of the battery, and when you see a variance here, that shows how much of a variance there was of the percentage of the battery over that hour specifically. And then the red columns, those are the energy consumption, and the orange columns, that's the solar production. So if we begin the day here, the day started at 20%, and then there was solar production starting to ramp up, and I plugged in the car, and then it got unplugged and probably driven somewhere, and then plugged it in again when we got home. And here I was hammering the trailer pretty hard to get the battery down as quickly as I could, discharging the battery of the trailer into the battery of the Tesla before leaving. So we got the RV battery down to 3%. And then we started to drive, and I left the inverters on, so there's a little bit of standby loss down here from those inverters just being on, but not really much consumption happening. And then the solar production continued as we drove. So that's the battery state of charge here going up quickly. And then we got to our destination, and I turned on the water heater and the mini split to cool down the trailer, as you saw in the video. And so that's where this energy consumption spiked pretty dramatically and consumed 1.66 kilowatt hours over that hour. And so that dropped the battery down pretty significantly, and down here to about 41% by the end of the next hour. And the consumption dropped off, of course, as we weren't really doing much in the trailer. We were hanging out with the family and whatnot. Over here, the energy consumption jumped up again a little bit as the water heater probably cycled on and pulled the battery down some more. And then we ended out the day at 22% on the battery. So our consumption throughout the day, which includes all of this, of course, was 10.8 kilowatt hours. But we actually began the day at 23% and then ended the day at 22%. So we pretty much consumed all of the solar of the day almost perfectly. And over here you can see the solar was 15.3 kilowatt hours. And the difference between that, I guess, would be efficiency losses, and that's the energy going in and out of the battery as well as going through the inverters, and there's efficiency losses in all of that. Keep in mind our solar array is 2,650 watts, but it is flat mounted, so it doesn't perform as well as it would if it was tilted. And this was in July, so it's pretty optimal production for it. Although I have seen the solar as high as 20 kilowatt hours on a perfect day near the summer solstice in June. And then our battery storage bank is 9.98 kilowatt hours of battery storage. Good morning, girls.
Good morning.
How did you sleep last night?
Good.
Where did you sleep last night?
In a little house.
They were in one of the little cabins. Great. The RV battery this morning is down to 7%. So we had the air conditioning on most of the night, and so it drew it down pretty good. We're currently getting 431 watts of solar, and it's 7:30 a.m. It's currently 67 degrees inside and 56 outside. So the temperature dropped really dramatically overnight outside. And inside I had the mini split set to 68 degrees most of the night. We spent the morning braiding hair, eating breakfast, doing crafts, floating on the water, and just generally hanging out with the family.
Good job, you did it.
There's Lucy out doing a morning paddleboard ride. It looks beautiful, Lucy. And there's Lydia on a kayak. Are you having fun, Clara? Yeah. Great. is now 10:30 in the morning and we are headed to a local water park to go play. So I just thought I'd point out that the RV battery got up to 16% and we're getting 1600 watts of solar right now. The mini split is set to 68 degrees and the inside temperature right now is 69 and the outside is 74. This is the Olympic swimming pool we're headed to, and you can see they've got this big bridge overhead with the people waiting in line for the slide. And this is what the pool looks like down that way. Let's go check it out. Are you having fun, James? Yeah? He's loving this pool. The water here is really warm, which is nice. Yeah, Lydia! Good job! Yeah, come on down, Clara! Was that fun, Clara? Yeah. Go, Lydia! Yeah! Good job, Lucy. Having fun?
Freezing too.
The water on the slide, yeah.
It's so cold.
It's good that the water here in the pool is so warm, though.
Yes.
Nice. We're going to go down these slides now, the red and green slides. This is a good view of the platforms that they have for diving. Are you excited?
Yeah.
All right. There's Lydia.
It's like pitch dark in there.
It is this dark, yeah. There she is.
Now time to go in the red.
All right, let's do it. And there she is. Yeah, Clara. How was it, Clara? Good. Here comes Lydia. There she is. Lydia, how did you like that ride?
Good.
There's Clara. Hey, girl. There's Lucy. Which one was your favorite, the red or the green?
Green.
It's Lucy. Yeah, good job. Give me 5. How was it? See, was this one scarier than the one at Splash Summit?
Yes.
How
Because
so?
it's like, at Splash Summit it's like just a little bit, but here it's like,
Drops off steeper.
yeah.
Okay, and
It's
higher.
like straight down almost.
Yeah, cool. Hey kids, welcome to the kiddie pool. Are you having the time of your life? He loves it in here. Yeah. Lucy, are you having fun? Yeah. All right. There she goes. Go, Lucy. How was that? All right, Lucy's gonna go try climbing up the bouldering wall. Did you have fun?
I'm gonna do it again.
Some significant clouds have rolled in, so it's not looking like the trailer is probably going to get fully charged today, but it'll still have enough charge for what we need, I'm sure. It's over that way on the other side of that cliff. You girls having fun?
Yeah.
Yo, Clara! We are back to our trailer. Hey James, how are you doing? And the temperature in here is 68.9 degrees and the outside temperature is 78 degrees. So not nearly as hot today as it was yesterday because it was so overcast today. But despite that, we are up to 72% on our battery And we're only getting just over 200 watts of solar right now, and the mini split is consuming just over 300 watts. And right now it is 5:12 p.m. for a point of reference on the time of day. And I left the mini split set to 68 degrees the whole time we were away, so that has been draining some of the energy. So surprisingly, if we had left that off, it looks like probably the battery could have been pretty close to full today. And tomorrow is supposed to be a sunny day, I believe, so I think it'll probably get full tomorrow. The RV battery, that is. You having fun? It is now 9:36 p.m. and the battery's down to 65%. And the temperatures are now 68 degrees inside and 67 degrees outside. So clearly it is cooler outside than it is inside. The air conditioning is not working hard at all. It's just cooling down the warmth from the sun during the day right now. And I'm just going to leave the mini split on all night at 68 degrees and we'll see how that goes. This is the Victron Monitoring Portal for that day. And so you can see we began the day at 22%, and then it bottomed out as low as 4% before the solar kicked in and the state of charge climbed up throughout the day and then peaked at 75%, and then kind of just meandered there in the middle for several hours before ending the day here at 57%. And so you can see the solar ramped up nicely, and then it was in the afternoon when those clouds came in and the solar production dropped off pretty dramatically for the rest of the day after that. And then the energy consumption was, you can see a spike here from the water heater as well as here, and probably a few others mixed in here. Otherwise, the energy was somewhat consistent, varied a little bit, of course, and this was the mini split primarily most of this time because that's when we were at the water park. So our consumption for the whole day was 6.5 kilowatt hours, and our solar generation was 12.6 kilowatt hours. It is now 7:34 the next morning. The battery's down to 40%. We're getting 345 watts of solar, and our AC consumption is quite high right now because I just barely turned on the mini split to heat the trailer instead of cool. The temperature in here was down to 65 degrees, and now it's up to 70. Outside it's 54, and you can see the humidity spiked when I switched it over to heat. I'm not entirely sure why it all of a sudden changed, but these windows all fogged up where they weren't before. So in any case, it's going to get up to temperature soon, and then I'll just turn the mini split off completely. One thing to note is I did leave the water heater off all night, so there was a little bit less energy consumption due to that. He loves it. The girls are over there in the trailer, still asleep, all of them. Hey, good morning, girls.
Good morning.
How did you sleep?
Good, but you laughed.
Well, yeah, we stepped outside for a minute because you were still asleep. And here at 8:38 a.m., we are currently getting almost a kilowatt of solar already, and the battery's charging quickly, so we'll probably get fully charged today. It's 9:04 a.m., and I had to come and wake Lucy up so that she doesn't miss breakfast. It's a little dark cave back there, huh? Her head was at the far end of this bottom bunk, and there's no window there, so it's completely dark, or at least really dark. So that's a good place to put kids if you want them to not wake up with sunrise. All right, let's go eat breakfast, Lucy. It's almost noon, and we're taking off to go river rafting, and so I just thought I'd do a quick update here. At 74% on the battery, we're getting almost 1900 watts of solar, and the mini split is currently set to 64 degrees, and so it's pulling about 540 watts plus the other things on board that are pulling energy. And right now it's showing 66 inside and almost 81 outside. We're at the beginning of the river rafting, just across the way over that direction is where we're going to put in. We're just getting ready, getting staged, and we're going to head off. Are you excited, girls?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
All right, let's do it. Whew, quite the traffic jam, huh, girls? Go ahead, Clara. Okay, girls, are you ready? Okay, here we go, girls. Clara, you having fun? All right. Lydia, you having fun?
Yes.
All right. Lucy, you having fun? You excited? All right, let's do this. Woo! What do you think, Lucy?
I love it.
You love it? This is fun, huh? This is fun, huh, Clara?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna be a big one. That was a lot of water. How about you, Lydia? You having fun?
Yeah.
Woo! It's a big one! Whoa! Woo! How was that, Clara, Lydia?
I got soaked. And they like blew up.
Yeah, that was crazy.
like how? Yeah, like that. I'm having so much fun.
Good. That was warm water he threw on us. Girl, should we do it again?
Yeah.
All right. All right, time to get out, girls. Here on the right side, you see the sign?
Shoe on.
This is for you.
6.
Number 6. That's so many. I've lost track. I think I'm at number 4, maybe 5. I'm not entirely sure. Oh, you want to go down that waterfall, Lucy? No. It is really crowded. There's a lot of people here. Luckily, going down the river kind of spreads people out. We finally got into the current. There's a region there of hot water. People are hanging out in it. The number of people on this river has been increasing throughout the afternoon. And it's okay, the river tends to spread people out, but there are clusters of people that becomes a little annoying because you're all bouncing off of each other and you're trying to get off the walls and then you get knocked back into the wall. You're not showing very much joy. Show me the joy.
Yay!
There we go. There's the peanut gallery up there. There's lots of them along the river, shooting water out across the river goers. Here's another one right here. He's got a full-on hose just going. Whoa! Here's another peanut gallery. Well, we got through the gauntlet, I think. Oh, look at that guy's back. Oh, you're losing your tube. Wow, he just walked away from it.
And then look at his back.
Yeah, he got wrecked. You ready for this, Lucy? They're gonna get us. Woo! Ah, warm water, like it. Are you cold? Yeah, the sun went behind clouds again. It's been pretty cloudy this afternoon. We had a little bit of a rainstorm, but it really didn't last that long. In case you were wondering, there's a prominent sign here right under the bridge to let you know when to get out. It's a beautiful backdrop in this really quaint town. There's the river that we just went down. This is our last river run of the day. We got Jesse and Clara. All right, let's check out the hot pots. Hey Clara, how does it feel?
Good.
It's so warm, huh? Yeah, it's amazingly warm considering the river is flowing right by here and it's much, much colder. But they've got it lined with rocks right here, so it helps to isolate the water. And you can see the water's coming down right there. That's the hot spring. Okay, we're gonna get back on the river. Been nice?
I'm not going to.
You're not going, you're just gonna stay here?
Yes.
We're back on the water. It's gotten a little cloudy over us anyway. So after getting out of those hot springs and having cloud cover, it's really a lot chillier than it was before. How was that, Clara?
What?
How was that?
I just liked it.
You didn't like it?
It was too cold.
It was too cold, I agree. Oh, here it comes. Oh. Yeah. Good job.
Yes.
You're doing great. Can you give me a beer? There's a food truck, a bus here. Double-decker bus. That's cool. We're done, Clara. You did it.
Are you getting out?
Clara, do you know how many times you did it?
No.
I don't know either. I did it 5 times though, so you probably did it about that many. Are you all done? tired and cold? All right. Well, there's the sign. Let's get out. Jess, was that number 5 for you?
I think so.
We've now ridden the raft down the river about 5 times each. It's like a parade. Was it worth coming? Was it lots of fun? Show me your excited face.
What was your favorite part?
When they dumped the hot water on us and when we were in the hot pots.
The hot pots were really nice. Yes, I totally agree. And driving through this town is really cool as well. It's a fun, quaint town. James just loves this thing. He doesn't even know what it's for. Doesn't care. We are back to the trailer. So as a quick systems update, the temperature inside is currently 66. It was 64 just a few minutes ago, and I turned it off because we're all wet and cold. Outside it's 78 degrees. And then the battery is showing 99%. It probably got to 100 and it started to withdraw the power. You can see the solar is down a bit. And right now it is 5:04 p.m. Right now I'm filling up this 5-gallon water jug to use water elsewhere at the family reunion. We've done this 3 times now. We're supplying water to the whole group. But most of the time I've been filling it up about 3/4 of the way just because it's not as heavy that way. So yeah, it's just kind of a fun thing. We've been able to bring 45 gallons of extra water, plus this was full, so that's 50 gallons. And this location where we're camping has no potable water, so we've been supplying water to the whole group for the several days that we've been here. And right now the fresh tank is showing 1/3 full. This is woefully inaccurate and also not very granular, so not terribly helpful, but we're getting low and that's understandable. So I'm going to take this over to the group now. The rest of the evening was just hanging out around camp, eating and talking for the most part. Luckily, despite the close proximity to the wetlands, there wasn't a problem with mosquitoes or a lot of other insects here. Now don't get me wrong, there were insects here, just not as many as I would have expected considering the close proximity. The biggest annoyance was trains going by a couple of times per hour and drowning out conversations for a couple of minutes each time. Overall though, it was a pleasant evening chilling around the fire as darkness descended. It is now 9:48 p.m. The battery's down to 88%. So mini split's on at night. It's 68 degrees all night. And right now it's not really on, so that's all we have being drawn out of the battery. We'll see where it is in the morning. That day the battery started out at the beginning of the day at 57%, and you can see throughout the morning it declined down to bottomed out at 40%. Right here there was a spike in energy consumption, and that's when we got up and started doing some things, and the rest of this was just standby loss as well as the mini split on throughout the night. In fact, the mini split was on throughout the day, and I mentioned that I had it on air conditioning throughout the middle of the day, for instance. So here in the morning the solar production started to climb, and right here at noon it was at 98%. So really in the early part of 1 p.m. is when the battery completely filled up, and then it was just full for the remainder of the afternoon. And then here at 5 p.m. is about when we got back to the trailer, so there was a spike in energy consumption, and then the state of charge declined slowly throughout the evening as the mini split was still on, and we ended the day at 80%. So down here our consumption was 6.9 kilowatt hours and our solar production was 11.8. This was my first successful time-lapse recording through both the sunset and sunrise continuously. It's been a learning curve getting the settings right and figuring out how to power the camera that long, as well as ensure the memory card doesn't fill up. Recording time-lapses is most tricky during the sunset and sunrise because the light levels change dramatically, so I have to check on it regularly during those periods of time to check on the settings and sometimes tweak them. It's tricky figuring out what the framing will be that shows the trailer but also has other movement that's interesting to watch, such as the clouds and stars. Plus there's getting the settings and the focus right. For instance, you might notice that when the stars begin to appear, the trailer is still in focus, so the stars are blurry. Then I switch the focus to the stars for the remainder of the night until the trailer is again illuminated the next morning, then I switch the focus back to it. Also, you might notice a subtle speeding up of the time lapse during the night, and that's because the pictures need a longer exposure to gather enough light to see anything, and that longer exposure forces the time interval between the pictures to lengthen, as well as makes the video appear to speed up. The flashes of light are passing vehicles on the highway or trains going by, which, based on this time lapse, there were 9 trains between sunset and sunrise. In any case, this isn't a video about photography, but I just wanted to share a little bit of my success that I've been trying to figure out for a while. It is now the next morning, and right now it is 64.8 degrees inside and 52 degrees outside. And our RV battery is down to 71%. The mini split was on at 68%. degrees all night and still is, but clearly wasn't doing anything for a long time. We're just barely getting a little bit of solar now. The sun is directly hitting the trailer just recently, 341 watts, and our AC loads are 92 watts. I just remembered we left the water heater off all night, like last night, because we wanted these red lights to be off. So I just turned that on, and now you can see the energy consumption jumped up. And so that will be running for the next 15 minutes or so, pulling down the battery some more. But clearly we're going to have a full battery here really soon today. And the girls just barely started to wake up. How did you sleep, Lydia? Good. Yeah? Good. Awesome. Good. Good. Clara, you were just awake. How did you sleep last night? Good. Good. Awesome. I'm glad to hear it. Lucy's down there, but she is, I think, still genuinely asleep, so we'll leave her alone.
Because she's freaking that away.
Yeah, she has no window, so it stays extra dark at the end of that bunk down there. Oh, hey, Lucy. She did wake up. How did you sleep last night? Never in my life have I ever camped anywhere or been anywhere where railroad tracks were as active as they are here. These trains go by so often, so very, very, very often. All night and all day, these trains are going by, and there's two rails, so sometimes there are trains going by in both directions simultaneously. And it makes the ground shake, and the RV can vibrate, and I can feel it right now. Just vibrates the ground. So this is the biggest drawback to this location, is sound pollution. And then also there's this highway right here. It's a 55-mile-an-hour road. You can see the speed limit sign right there, and this is the beginning of it. So people are accelerating here, getting up to speed, and they are very loud. Some of the vehicles are very loud, and the train is very loud. And then also on the other side of us is a highway, and we're at the bottom of a hill right before engine brakes are restricted. So semi-trucks are coming down that hill on a regular basis, running their engine brakes or compression brakes, and it's so very loud all the time. Other than this morning when I first woke up and checked on my time-lapse camera, and it was actually quiet at that time before any traffic was out on the roads at about 5:45 a.m. Beautiful view though. In our next video, we relocate our trailer up the road to a boondocking spot and continue our adventures in Idaho. Subscribe and set your notifications to all to get automatically notified when the next video publishes. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.